Welcome to the Chiropractic Mindset Mastery Podcast, hosted by Dr. Danny Scahill. Dr. Danny is a doctor of chiropractic, a best-selling author, coach, speaker, and trainer. On the Chiropractic Mindset Mastery Podcast, he interviews other experts so you can glean further insights to help you on your journey to chiropractic mastery.
Welcome to this episode of the Chiropractic Mindset Mastery Podcast. Got another fantastic guest for you today, Dr. Brock McCurdy. Got a little bit of information about Dr. Brock. So Dr. Brock is an Australian chiropractor based in Barcelona, where he's been serving the community since 2008. He's the founder of Chiropractic Outcomes, a software platform that helps chiropractors track and communicate real results. Known for his straight-talking, heart-led approach, Brock has worked with everyone from royal families and elite athletes to local families and orphan children. He's passionate about elevating the chiropractic profession and is on a mission to reshape the way the world perceives and experiences chiropractic. Without further ado, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, good, Danny. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
You're most welcome, mate. So tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today, mate?
Yeah, so there's been my chiropractic journey started when I was 13 years old. And I knew I always wanted to be like a healer or a doctor or something like that. And I was actually really into martial arts. And I was in a tournament and I got injured. And my mum, who had like a more of a natural, tendency towards things, took me to a chiropractor. And I got an adjustment. And just as soon as I had my adjustment, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. It was a before and after moment. And not so much before and after because I had like an amazing healing experience. I just thought it was really cool. Like the chiropractor was really nice. Because I was into karate, I liked the art. He just used his hands. It made sense. And yes, my back pain went away quite quickly. But the interesting thing was more so the things that unfolded. And I was already sold on chiropractic after this. I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor, but I also had asthma, like really bad. I was, spent 1 or 2 weeks in hospital type bad. That went away very quickly. I didn't need asthma medication anymore. Struggled in school. I was a lot sharper in school. I was one of those kids that got sick a lot. Those kids that always catch whatever cold or flu's going around. I rarely got sick, and it helped me. I ended up getting to 4th in the world in karate, and used chiropractic for performance as well. So even though I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor, I just kept using it, and it just made such an improvement in my life, And so yeah, I studied, and then I backpacked around for a few years, straight after school. Basically, I finished university, and I was like, okay, I just want to explore the world and explore different, like chiropractic school. Even though I really did enjoy RMIT, it has got more of a medical, like it's more of a mechanistic model, and I wanted to just visit amazing chiropractors and healers around the planet, and not just chiropractors, but different types of healing modalities. So I backpacked around the world for 3 years, and the main mission was just to do that, like learn. And I located in the UK at the time to get some money, and then I'd just jump, I'd cover a practice for 2 weeks, and then I would just travel to South America or different countries and visit different healers. And I saw some crazy stuff. It really cracked my head open about what's possible and just different way people look at health and healing, And one of the places I dropped in was Barcelona, and there was this amazing chiropractor there. And I was like, man, I want to work with this guy. His name was Tobias. And I almost stuck around in the UK, in the south, around Hove. I almost set up there. And I thought, no, I want to go to Barcelona. So I'm still here. It was going to be 2 years, and then I was going to go back to Australia, and that was 17 years ago. And now, and I'm happy here. It's a great life, And now I've got I've got my partner Doris. I've got a 3-year-old. Doris is pregnant with another kid. I've got a great life here, good friends. I've got my platform, Chiropractic Outcomes, so things are going really well, and my practice, which I love, Yeah.
That is
So
awesome.
that's a sort of condensed version of my last 30 years. Yeah.
That is awesome. Some journey that, mate. Congratulations on the next baby on the way, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm super, super happy. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. So you touched on karate. I had no idea, A, that you did karate, and B, that you got to number 4 in the world. Speak
Yeah,
to that
that
a
was,
little bit,
I was
mate.
obsessed by it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what style did you do, and what inspired you to do that and stuff like that?
Well, I started with Taekwondo, um, and the my instructor at the time took on like a father role for me. So I think I really like dove into it because of the also the masculine support, but he was really good. He was like when Taekwondo was representing the Olympics in Seoul, he came fourth in the world in the Seoul Olympics. So he was quite a hero in Australia. And he just happened to be my instructor. So I was really lucky to have someone like him. And I experienced a bit of violence, like from my stepfather when I was a kid, and I think I got into it more to protect, or really my mum and my sisters. So it was more, and then because there was that violence in the house, that was sort of my escape, and I just got obsessed with Taekwondo. I actually never lost a fight, and I was supposed to compete in the Barcelona Olympics um, for Taekwondo, and then we had to leave because of the violence and stuff. This guy, we just flew to the other side of Australia. I used to live in Perth, and there was no taekwondos around, and so I just started karate. And I was good at martial arts by then, so I just climbed up the ladder in karate. And yeah, I mean, it was my life. Everything I trained every morning, every night. I just absolutely just because I loved it. It was so much fun. Um, then, but yeah, there's not much future in it, and I also really wanted to be like I wanted to be a healer. And for me, chiropractic is a perfect combination of martial arts and healing. Like there's that art in it with the art form with the adjustment, and then the obviously the healing part. So anyway, yeah, I ended up I had my last fight when I was 27. It was an open black belt heavyweight open. I'm only like 60 kilos, so I'm fighting guys at like 100 kilos. And I got to the finals and I got knocked out, but just for like a couple of seconds, three times to get to the finals. I couldn't read for 2 weeks. I couldn't even use a phone because I just couldn't see like I had such bad concussion. And I'm like, no, there's not much future in this for me. So I think I love it so much, but like I'm going to stop. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is
I would still
insane.
love to compete. It's just you just get hurt, you know what I mean? So it's not just not if you didn't get hurt, I'd still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's cool, that mate. So
Yeah.
60 kilos competing against guys who are 100 kilos. That is
But the
nuts.
difference is as well when I was doing those ones, they're not full contact. It's not like the UFC. They would have killed me, It's all about points. So,
Yeah,
so I was little and fast, so I could get a point, but they would hit me once and I'd like just plop to the ground, you know what I mean? Like if it was it'd be different if it was a full contact fight, they'd clean me up because it's a point semi-contact thing, you can sort of get away with being a bit smaller and fast.
fair enough. It's still a
Yeah,
great achievement though, mate. Well done.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
awesome. Because I used to do loads of different martial arts myself. Like when I was really young, it was judo, then
Oh
it was
well.
karate, Shotokan. I did. What
Yeah.
did you do?
I used to compete against the Shotokan guys. Those guys hit very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
It's a
true.
very good martial art. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. And then I went into kickboxing and then I got injured lifting weights trying to get bigger because obviously we've met and I'm not a big guy. And so I was competing against guys who, well, kids I was a teenager at that time, lifting weights way too young, not listening to my dad, got injured. That
All right.
ultimately led to me becoming a chiropractor. So yeah, it was nice
Oh, we
to
have a similar story, no? Yeah.
it is. As you were talking about it, I was thinking this is very similar, and I did not know this. That's brilliant.
Yeah, cool.
So, what I would assume you've learned loads of lessons from chiropractic, so from karate and your martial arts that then transposed into your chiropractic journey. What did you learn? What valuable lessons did you learn in karate and taekwondo that helped with your chiropractic career?
Yeah, great question. Because I would give a lot of my success due to the lessons I learned in martial arts. And I had the same level of like or more like dedication and sort of obsession and love for it that I did for martial arts when I was a kid. It just sort of transferred into that same thing I had for karate and martial arts, just transferred into chiropractic.
Yeah.
Um, the the big ones is like discipline and consistency to be the best. I'm not saying I'm the best chiropractor, but be the best version of myself as a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And and I'm very, very consistent and very disciplined in my approach of just like training with chiropractic and practicing with chiropractic when it comes to technique, communication, business, all those sort of things. And really believing in myself. That was one of the biggest ones. Like when you're competing at that level, you really got to believe you can. And I think your belief in what you can deliver as a chiropractor with the adjustment is really important. Like I think certainty is one of the most important things as a chiropractor, you know, regardless of whether your technique. And that was instilled in me in a very young age from my teachers, because they would just, like, while I was training, they'd be saying, you can do it, you can do it, you know what I mean? It's within you. So, and that's just such a beautiful gift I was given, you know, from them. And then that's definitely transferred into chiropractic. And I think it's, yeah, really one of the biggest reasons I do well as a chiropractor. Yeah.
I love that, mate. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. So, in terms of your chiropractic mentors and inspirations in the past and all the way up to today, who are they and why?
Yeah. Good question. I've had quite a few. The first coach that I had was Jim Sigafus. So he's
Big
pretty
name, of
big
course.
character, a big name. So he was my first official like mentor that I paid. And I remember when I was leaving Australia, I had a call with him like 2 days before I was about to like do my backpacking. And I'm going like, I'm going to backpack around the world, but I don't know where I'm going to end up. Like, how do I decide? And he said something to me before I hung up the phone. I'm about to jump on the plane. I'll never forget it. He says, always practice where you want to live. Never practice just based on money or opportunity or whatever. But figure where you want to live and build your life around that. And they're always stuck in my head, you know? And I coached with him for a few years, but I ended up getting quite scared because he was quite disorganized with his coaching. It wasn't very structured. And whenever I'd call him, he'd go, I had to call him. He wouldn't call me. And he'd go, what do you want, Brock? And I was just sort of a little always a bit intimidated by the guy. Like the guy's a genius. I love him, but I was always a little bit like intimidated by him. So yeah, but you know, he's Sigafu. So it was great to be able to like learn under him, you know. Then there's Tobias Goncharov. He's passed away. He's the reason I'm in Barcelona. He had a very big practice here. I actually met him. Do you know Amma, the hugging nun?
I don't.
Have you
No,
heard of this lady?
no, I
She,
haven't.
she- she's amazing. She's from India, and she's considered, I don't know whether she's a guru or god, but a very high level character. And she travels around the world hugging people. But there'll be tens of thousands of people over 5 days, and she hardly sleeps. And she just sits there, and there's lines, and she just hugs and hugs and hugs. And she travels the world doing this. She's a really big figure over there and around the world. And anyway, they have chiropractic there where you volunteer and you adjust like the whole time, you know. You do 12-hour shifts, but you know, then you have a sleep. Anyway, I met Tobias at this thing, and then I thought, man, this guy's really cool. Then I checked out his practice, and he was quite famous in Spain. Here's one of the big reasons, I think, maybe not the only, but one of the big reasons Barcelona is such a vitalistic community.
Okay.
A lot of chiropractors went through him. And yeah, I rented space off him for 6 years, and learned a lot of him. Just really, and he was a very like principled, you know, vitalistic chiropractor. So I really deepened my understanding and trust in that. And he's passed away now. But yeah, amazing man. The other very big figure for me is Russ Rosen. Do you know him?
Yes, I did a bit of work with in one of his programs a good while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he'd probably be the most impactful, I'd say. It's hard to put weight on who did the most, but I was definitely more consistent with him over a long period of time, and I absolutely love the man. So when I set up with Tobias, I'd been locuming for 3 years, and I was really and I'd done lots of technique seminars, so I was quite developed, like technique wise. I was a very good adjuster for only 3 years out. And I was a bit too much ego. I was expecting to see a huge volume really quickly. Set up with him, and the practice just absolutely flopped. I couldn't speak the language, and I just didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know anything about business because all I'd done is locums. So there's good things you learn with locums, but you don't learn any of that other stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, this didn't work out, and I'd run out of money. And I searched around for the whatever the best coaches were at that time. And he fitted most with my philosophy. So I started with him. He was also the most expensive, and he totally transformed my practice. And I still jump on calls with him. I coached heavily with him for 10 years. So like 80% of my systems, and I really like dove in, every weekend I was studying his stuff. He was amazing. And I still check in with him now. He's not my regular coach, but I love the man. So he was very influential. Um, I mean, I can keep going. Tell me if you want to stop, hey, because I don't want to chew up all your time.
No,
But
you're all good. So this is good stuff.
Vishmai, Vishmai?
Yeah, I stayed with him in Bali not long ago. Yeah.
There you go. He's a great man. So he's been like the last his first seminar was with me and my friend Jans in Ibiza. We actually heard of this guy in Holland, and he was just so successful but got to take sabbaticals and was really cool. I was like, how the hell does this guy do this? So we actually flew him over to Ibiza
Did
for
you? Nice.
for a free weekend. Look, we'll pay for your flights. Just come over and teach us how you did it, And he'd never done any seminars or anything at that time. And then he taught us some stuff and like such a cool guy. And anyway, then he just started, becoming a coach and mentor. But I've been with him for a few years, and very, very different than Russ Rosin and the other sort of people. Very different stuff with his vortex, but elements and his PVA. But my main thing for Vishmaya while I was with him and what is like I've learned off him is like doing things with more ease, because I always feel like I have to push in business. So that was really nice. He's got like an effortless abundance about him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to like learn some of that off him. It's hard, it's a very tangible, hard thing to touch, but I think and I know a lot of chiropractors, we're stressed in small business, always pushing. And I was like, man, I've been in practice for so long, I don't want to feel this all the time. So it was more to just get some of that off him. How does he take sabbaticals and all this and be so cruisy and abundant financially and help people? So I wanted some of that to rub off on me. And actually, I think that created the space for me. Around that time, I developed Chiropractic Outcomes, my other software platform. My practice grew, and I had a kid. And so there was definitely, I think my cup was full before, but with him, I created a lot more space with what was possible, which was great. Donnie Epstein, he blew my mind the first time I saw that man, and I went through all the levels of network. I'm not a network practitioner, but the guy's quite amazing. And probably my favorite chiropractor is Lou Corletto. You know him?
I know the name, but I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he's just one of those healing freaks. He's just some people have just got like the gift of like he's just an amazing man. So I really look up to him, and I've done a few of his seminars, and I really look up to him as a mentor. I don't want to miss many people out here. I think the Cintraby guys have done a really good job. Pat and Aaron.
Very cool.
I mean, they're two of my best friends.
Are they? Very good.
Oh yeah. So we all arrived around the same time in Barcelona. So they're friends / mentors, but I think what they've done to elevate the profession through the adjusting is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome. Some great mentors there, mate. Yeah, I know Pat and Aaron very well. They're good lads. And Vismay, as you were describing, he's just got this chilled. He's very much in my mind. He's like the archetypal chiropractic hippie in my mind.
Yeah.
He's just so chilled and just that. I love the word you used, cruisy. Cruise. That's
Yeah.
very much an Aussie phrase, that isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Some great mentors there, mate. So, in terms of in your business, you alluded to one or two of them, but in terms of your business life as a chiropractor, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had, or mistakes, or whatever word you want to use, and what were the biggest learnings from them as well?
Um, yeah, so I'll go back to, I touched on this when I set up in Barcelona. As I said, I'd earned good money locoming, but I'd spent it all on seminars and traveling. So I came here with very little money. So it's a terrible feeling when you have to sell a care plan to someone, and if they don't pay for it, you're not going to be able to cover rent. It's a shitty position to be in, because especially when you want to help people, but you need the money. And anyway, I was in this position, and that's when I started coaching with Russ, and I just really dove. I realized what I realized. I'm a very good adjuster. I would toggle people's atlas and say, now you're connected to a nape, and they just wouldn't come back for their next visit. And I'm like, okay, maybe. And some chiropractors can pull that off. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't want to discount that as a model, because some chiropractors practice like that and they're huge. It just didn't work for me at all, you know? Um, and what I realized for me, that I needed to be good at business, communications, and systems to help more people, to adjust more. So it was just a means to an end. But I just dove into that. Have you read the book, The E-Myth? It's quite popular.
Yes, yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, so I read that book, and what amazed me by it was, I could be wrong on the exact percentages here, but what they say, like a mum and pop shop, what are they called? There's just basically someone that sets up a business because they love it. Maybe you like hamburgers, so you make a hamburger shop. You
Yeah.
like cooking cakes, whatever. It's a small shop by a small business owner, like a chiropractor. Um, Now this is in the 90s in the States, but like 80% of those in the first 5 years close down. They fail. I'm sure chiropractic isn't within that stat, because I think chiropractors are a bit more successful, but just in general, that's a stat. And the ones that survive the next 5 years, they also the ones that survive the first 5 years, they 80% of them will fail in the next five as well. So the stats are just terrible. But a franchise will 80% will survive in the first 5 years, and then the following 80% will survive. So the stats are totally different. And if you think about like a nice like hamburger or cake from a local person that loves what they do, it's a lot more tastier than a McDonald's hamburger or a whatever else. And the thing that's missing is the protocols and systems, and the consistency. And I think in chiropractic, as the generalization, we're not that good at that because we're not taught that. So one thing that I'm very strong at is my systems. I have checklists for everything, 90 something percent of everything, for my staff, for me, for the finances, everything's checklists. And it makes the ship run really smooth and creates more space for growth. So just the basic, structure of having a healthy business like that, that having that suffering financially to begin with at the start really pushed me to be good at that. So that was great. Yeah.
I love that, mate. So, I mean, I'm guessing, bear in mind what you've just said, you've probably read the checklist manifesto, have you?
No, I want to read it.
Oh, you will love it, mate. You will love it. It's
Yeah.
obviously as the name, the clue's in the title. It's all about
Yeah.
checklists, and
Checklist
that's
manifesto.
awesome,
I'll
mate.
check that out.
So, in terms of mindset, some days we have great days, some days we have shit days. When your head is in the shed, what is your one go-to strategy to get your head back in the game as quick as you possibly can?
Yeah. Exercise. Yeah. Moving my body. Um, and more specifically, around that is a good morning routine, which includes movement, some meditation, and some visualization. But yeah, the main thing, if I just get exercise, it'll really clear my head. If I'm feeling crappy, like, as Tony Robbins says, 80% of business success is psychology,
Yep.
and I think that's really true. Like, if our mindset's off, yeah, everything just that follows on just doesn't work out. So for me, exercise, and I'm really into my morning routine. Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did your morning routine look like? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I definitely can. I was actually going to start a webpage called morningroutines.com years ago because I was so into it. I mix it up because I get bored. Like, I think also monotony, doing the same thing over whatever, it just gets a bit boring. It doesn't have the same punch to it.
Yeah.
At the moment, my morning routine is trampoline. I jump on the trampoline 5 to 10 minutes. I do some qigong movement for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll do 5 minute meditation, which is I'm using at the moment the silver method. You know this one?
Yes, yes, good stuff.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I mix it up. It depends on, I've got kettlebells. Sometimes I'll do that. I was really into Joe Dispenza. I mean, I love his stuff, but I was getting up at 4 in the morning doing the hour and a half
What are you?
meditations. I did that for a few years, but then getting up, it takes quite a long time. So whatever just as time goes on, I'll mix it up and change it. But now that I've got, two businesses and a kid, also my time I don't have as much time to do those things. Before it was just me, so I had time for that. So I try to get more bang for my buck, try to get it as short a time as possible and get some benefits.
That's awesome. That's really cool. You alluded to it a little bit in terms of your businesses are very systemized, and what does your painter, because I've not been to your practice yet, but I'm going to be in Barcelona
How
next
come?
month, so I'll defo stop by, mate, and say
Do
hello.
it.
What does your practice look like? Paint a picture for us, and what's the energy like and the systems? What does that look
Yeah.
like?
So as you're saying that, it just made me remember when you said, what does it look like? So when I found this practice, it took me 8 months to find it. I was still renting space off Tobias. But after 6 years, I was like, okay, it's time for me to do my own thing. And I wrote down everything I wanted in the practice, like what type of reception I want, what type of this and that. And then I forgot the bit of paper. And then I've got the practice. And like a year later, I find the bit of paper and it was like, 90% the same, which is super cool, no? You
Yeah.
hear these stories about people visualizing and then it happening the way they wanted it. It's quite a big place. It's in the center of Barcelona. It's a ground floor. It's actually was have you heard of Gaudi before?
The name rings a bell, but I'm
Yeah,
not.
anyway, he's one of the famous sort of like architects. Wasn't him, but it was like his sort of like other guy that was almost as famous. It's one of these buildings. It's a beautiful Barcelona building. Like the ceilings are like 4 or 5 meters. I've got a huge glass front. You walk in the door and it's a big waiting room. I can do talks for up to 40 people. It's squishy, hey, with 40, but like we can fit 40 in there. Um, and I have a long hallway, which sort of sucks because my adjusting room is at the back. It's 200 square meters, which is quite big for Barcelona. And I've got a first visit room and a report of findings results room. And then I have an adjusting room with 3 tables. And then I have 2 other rooms where I have a physio who just rents space. I don't great physio, super functional, really into chiropractic, works with like circus performers and performing arts. So I really like his stuff. And a masseuse in another room. But they just use the space and sort of do their own thing. Um, I refer a lot to them, but they don't. Yeah, they're not my employees. And you're asking also about sorry, the structure of how I run things as far as like the patient flow. You mean?
Systems and flow, yeah.
Yeah. So systems and flow. I do day one, day two, first visit, report of findings, and 2 separate visits. And just to before I go on, I think there's so many different ways of doing things. I don't think my way is the best. I just think as long as you're confident and you do a good job, you can do it all in one visit. However, there's many ways, good ways of doing it. But I do day one, day two. I do some tests on the first visit. I'll do the 3-tech subluxation station, thermography, heart rate variability, and electromyography, palpation, obviously, um, range of motion for kudos sometimes. I would love to do grip strength and some other tests, spirometry, but it's just time. And then I measure, and that's the objective, and I measure subjective through my platform, Chiropractic Outcomes, which I developed for myself, but now is all around the world. So that's a really great way to capture the subjective experience of the person. And then I'll maybe send them for x-rays if necessary. And then on the next visit, we'll go through the results. And it depends. I mean, I see babies and people in their 90s. Most people are sort of, 30 to 50, I guess. And so obviously depends on their age and stuff for their program. But, most people around our age will have a similar sort of program because they come in for similar types of things. And then every 12 visits, I'll check in again, subjective, objective. It's really important that we make sure that people are improving. That's what they're coming to see us for, both in how I was all about function before. I was saying feeling doesn't matter. It's all about function. I mean, come on. I can't believe I was so people want to feel better, there's nothing wrong with that. So I think it's like 50-50, like we want them functioning better. We want to health, but we also want them feeling better. That's the end result people are coming for, So I measure both those things. I repeat the tests, repeat the subjective measurements through my platform, and then sit down with the patient and we see most people improve subjectively and objectively. Usually I'll drop the frequency a bit and then we do another 12 visits. And obviously if they're not getting the results they want, which is very rare, but it does happen. Well, we look, maybe it's a lifestyle thing they need to change. Maybe need to change my technique. Maybe they need to see another specialist, so it's course correct, but most people, 80-90% just tick along my initial recommendation, because for most people it works really, really well. Yeah.
That sounds
Any other
awesome.
questions? Have I covered enough with that? There's so
Yeah,
much.
that was a good overview, mate.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'll defo pop in and say hello when I'm in Barca, which
Yeah.
is not far away, about 5-6 weeks away, something like that.
And just to add to that, so I'll do a intensive phase, a corrective or regenerative, whatever you want to call it. And then most people will go into like a wellness care. Um, I love Bill Esteb's style. Like, we're on a bus and this is the direction. Have you heard him talk about this? Like, we're like a bus
Few
driver
times, yeah.
and we're going to wellness care, but you can get off whenever you like. I'm so not into hard pushing. Most people come along because they think, oh yeah, cool, that sounds great. But like, if you want to get off the bus anytime, if you just want to get out of pain and jump off the bus, this is where I'm going. But cool, mate, I love you. We're here if you need us. But most people will go into wellness care, which I'll do once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month. People can pick their, and some people might want to do less or whatever, but like that's sort of my general recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's what we used to do when I was in practice as well. Wellness is weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, whatever they choose. We give best recommendations, but obviously then they choose themselves.
Yeah.
Very cool, mate. So, is there any other questions that you wished that I would have asked, but I've not yet asked today?
Mm. I want to talk about my platform, Chiropractic Outcomes. So I want you to ask me about that,
Okay.
because that's a game changer. I'm just trying to think of anything else. I think maybe the most important thing that I think is some important key points to be successful as a chiropractor and fulfilled.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, just based off my experience, is taking care of yourself. And I think it's mindset, as you said before, but also your vitality. I really think, like, you have to be the highest energy in the room to really help people lift her up. And that can be tough because we have ups and downs, and that's the thing that sort of sucks about our profession sometimes, is like, you always got to be on, and that can be a bit too much. Like, sometimes I just can't, I'm genuinely pretty good, but sometimes you just can't be bothered, or I can't be bothered, and like, you know what I mean? But you got to be the highest, and that does take work.
Yeah.
So just taking care of yourself mentally and physically, and being the highest energy in the room, and just to always, there's going to be moments when you work on yourself a lot and others you don't. It's a process, it's a path, but just keep developing yourself, in your communications, in your business, in your adjusting and evolving yourself. You know what I mean? That's a lifelong process. And I think the moment you stop doing that, it reflects in your practice, reflects in your results, and reflects in your income as well. You know what I mean? So it's just and just to enjoy the process of that. Yeah.
That is awesome, mate. Really, really cool. So tell us about Chiropractic Outcomes, mate. What is it, and why did you start that? And how can chiropractors and chiropractic practices benefit from that?
Yeah. So I developed this platform for myself, to solve a problem that I was having. I had no intention of selling it or giving it to other chiropractors. And basically, the problem that I was having that I wanted to solve was I would track patient subjective outcomes in paper forms. When I do like a 0 to 10 scale, presenting complaints like low back pain, digestive issues, and then I'd ask a series of questions on how they were with like energy level, ability to handle stress, sleep, things like this. And then when I get to the progress exam, I'd repeat that question, like 0 to 10, and then we'd sort of, and then we'd have, basically we could see their improvement. Anyway, after doing this for like 10 years, I had about 3,000 forms. And I'm like, this data is gold. This is like my scorecard. I wanted to know, how am I affecting sleep? How am I affecting all these different things? So I thought I'll get a data analyst to come in and go through these 3,000 forms and put them in an Excel. And I can actually say I improved sleep by 50%, for example. And I thought, okay, this is expensive. It's going to take a lot of time and it's not repeatable. So maybe there's a platform already out there that does it. I searched around and there wasn't. And I thought this was crazy because, there's digital forms out there, there's paper, but nothing that tracks. So I built it for myself. And one of the big things I found that changed after starting to use it was a lot more patients were continuing care when their pain went away, because they could objectively see that chiropractic was affecting so many more things in their life. Because what my system does, it captures the data and it creates a graph. So you can see, well, my low back pain's getting better, but actually my energy's 25% better. My sleep's 42% better. So there's huge added value. And what actually happens is people attach, it expands what chiropractic is doing in their life. Because if you're just talking about back pain in your first visit, and that's all they think you're doing, they won't even attach chiropractic to their sleep. But when you measure it and you show them, you add huge value. So the big thing it does for practices, and we're in 9 countries around the world now, we're in 5 languages, it's going very, very well, is it's a very efficient tool to use in your progress exams to communicate the benefits of chiropractic. A lot of people want to stay under care for longer because they can see chiropractic is, changing my life. They can objectively see that based on what they tell you. It captures, we're leveraging subjective data. So it captures the data from all the patients and gives you an overall scorecard. So now I know in your clinic, you'll have there's a dashboard where it shows all your stats. So I know by the second progress exam, sleep improves by 42% on average under my care. I can confidently say that. And our profession needs more of this, because it pisses me off that after 125 years, people think we're back pain doctors or physical therapists. And when you hear about, then that's all we help with, mechanical spinal pain, maybe. And I'm like, the reality in my practice is very different for that. People are having all types of improvements in their life. So there's such a mismatch between practice and public perception. So now we can actually collect data on that. So it helps patients because they can see their improvements. It helps your practice because you get data that you can use for marketing as well, and communicate expected results. And for the profession, I'm pulling data from clinics all around the world. This is my big why behind this, to transform the way we perceive and experience chiropractic. And yeah, it's going to shift it. So I'm super excited and passionate about it. But for your everyday practitioner, it's a great tool for your progress exams. It makes things really easy and streamlined and helps you communicate the value of chiropractic.
That's a very, very cool piece of software, mate.
Yeah.
That is, already is and will continue to become even more so an asset to the profession, I'm sure. So
Sorry, mate.
it already is very useful for the profession, and I think it will
Yes.
continue to become more and more of an asset for the profession.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I totally agree. Yeah.
So good on you for doing that, mate. So what's the URL of that software
Yeah.
again?
So if you just Google chiropracticoutcomes.com and I pop up. You can check out the webpage, have a look what it's about. You can schedule a demo with me. I'm happy to see how you practice and see if it's a good fit for how you practice.
That's awesome. Brock, I know how busy you are, mate, so I want to say thank you for coming on to the Chiropractic Mindset Mastery podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Hey.
You're most welcome, mate.
Yeah.
So, in addition to your chiropractic outcomes, if people want to reach out and connect with you and ask you any questions, where else can they find you?
That's a great question. I think the best way is through the platform. Chiropractic Outcomes. You can see there's a support email through there. We also have an Instagram, Chiropractic Outcomes, on our Instagram, so you can message me through there as well.
Excellent stuff. Thanks again, mate. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
Cool. Take care.
You've been listening to Dr. Danny Scahill on the Chiropractic Mindset Mastery Podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All the best, guys. Take care.
You've been listening to Dr. Danny Scahill on the CMM Podcast, where we help you grow your business without killing yourself. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Check out our free masterclass on chiropracticmindsetmastery.com.